Good morning, friends, and welcome to Apron Strings. If this is your first time, I welcome you with open arms. I'm so thankful that you're here. And if you've been watching for a long time, I'm sure thankful for my regular subscribers that watch, and a lot of y'all comment, and it's like looking for a letter from a family member when I go and look at my comments. And if you're a regular commenter and you hadn't commented, I'm thinking, what's wrong? I wonder if something's wrong. So, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I did a video on my stuff that I bought at Costco, and I told y'all in that video that I would be canning some ground beef that I had bought. And if you didn't watch that, this is the chub of ground beef that I bought at Costco, and if you ask them to make you up a chub, you get a better price. This is 95.5 ground chuck, and then it was $3.79. And the 80/20 in the big family packs over there in the counter thing are $3.99. So that's 20 cents a pound cheaper for the one with almost no fat in it. And for canning, that's what I'd rather have. I'm going to get it browned, and once I get it browned up, then I'll bring y'all back. I'm going to can it with some broth made from Better Than Bouillon beef, just to give it a little bit of extra flavor. Once I get it in the jar, I'm just going to cover it with that. And I'm going to, I've got my jars washed. They don't have to be sterile because the heat for 75 minutes in the pressure canner is going to sterilize them, but I still wash them in hot soapy water, and I'm just keeping them warm at 250 in my oven to fill them, where there won't be thermal shock, and I'll feel comfortable filling them. So they're already washed and in the oven, staying warm. And I have my water in my canner, waiting for me to turn it on and start getting it hot. I'm going to can these in pints, so I'll be double stacking my canner. And so everything is ready for me to brown the meat and make the broth and get this canning session going and over with. I always dread starting it, then I enjoy it while I'm doing it, and then I just smile when I walk by and listen to the music. Ping, 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 everything seals. Yesterday I canned some green beans, and the reason was there was a little store that I go to, and they had fresh green beans, 79 cents a pound. Now the cheapest I've ever been able to buy them is 99 cents a pound. And the deer ate all of ours, so I didn't have any to can this year, and I was kind of frantic about it because green beans is something we eat a lot. So I ran down there and I bought me 30 pounds of green beans, and got them all snapped and cleaned and washed and canned, and I got 14 quarts and 17 pints, because the ones with the small mouth fit more in the canner than the wide mouth. And only one of them didn't seal, and that'll be cooked up with some bacon and onion today. But anyway, I didn't want to do green beans either, but we were running out and I needed some. So watch your sale papers. You might find something that you eat a lot that you want to can, because you might not can get it later, okay? Alrighty, I'm going to open this beef up and get it in the skillets and start browning it off. And then I'm going, according to how much fat's on it, it shouldn't be much. I may pour boiling water over it to wash that off, because I don't want it going rancid. And I'll put the bouillon on it and get it canned. I've got one of the chubs into the skillets, browning, and when it gets brown, then we'll get it jarred up in the pressure canner. I've sterilized everything. I've got my dipper to dip my beef or my juice up with that I'm going to put on top of it, my broth. I've got my debubbler, my funnel to fill with, and then I have this little dish with some white vinegar in it to clean the rims. I'm going to put my broth on one of these mats, and I'm going to put my meat on the other one, and I'm going to get a few jars at a time out of the oven where I'm keeping them warm and get them filled. And I've got my cooker simmering. The water is simmering to put my jars down in. I'm going to double stack pints, so it'll take me a little bit to get it filled and ready to go, and then we'll get it to pressuring. Let me get my, I've got my broth with a little onion and garlic powder and Better Than Beef bouillon, and I just did it to taste. I didn't measure. So y'all have to just, keep putting some in till you get it to taste like you think you want it. In my meat, I did put some onion and garlic powder to taste. and a little bit of salt because the bouillon has salt in it. But I wanted it to have a little flavor in the meat as it cooked. So that's what I've done so far, and I'm fixing to bring some of the meat over here and get some jars out and start filling them because my broth is just about ready to boil, and I'll be ready to get some in the canner. Okay, I have my very, very hot jars out of the oven, and while my broth is coming on up to a boil, I'm going to go ahead and fill these with the meat. That'll give me a little idea of how much more meat I need to do. Now I'm not putting any salt in the jars because I have salt in the meat. And I'll juice them and debubble them here in a little bit. Once you get your meat done, it goes pretty fast. Uh-oh. I do that every time. When April was little, she had a habit of spilling her drink at every meal. And one time she said, I do that every time. Well, I always make a mess, let me tell you. I'm just doing this to try to pack it down a little bit because I want as much in there, but I still want to have room to put some liquid. Now, if I were raw packing this, I wouldn't put any liquid in it. I would just let it make its own juice like I do canning chicken or beef or any of that. And this shows you how many air holes can get in stuff because it's going down quite a bit. Pack them down. I'm not packing it super duper tight because I want the broth to go in the meat. Okay. Alrighty, let me see if I can bring my broth over. Broth in them. It's hot in this kitchen, y'all. I didn't want to turn the blower on over the stove because you can't hardly hear it roars. It needs cleaning. I guess the motor needs cleaning. I don't know. Okay, some of them I want to add just a little bit of broth. And I'm going to try to get the next layer of jars ready, and when I get them all in there, I'll bring y'all back to see what I'm doing here. I'll be so glad to have this ready to just make a little can of soup, a little brown gravy with beef in it to go on a potato, or some chili. Could make a little bitty casserole. There's endless opportunities to use it, and it's so convenient. Alright, let me get a paper towel. And I'm going to wipe my rims all down good. That's to get any grease from your fingers or a splash off that would prevent your seal from being secure. And on the jars. I'm just doing them kind of fingertip tight. The purpose of the ring is to hold the lid down where it can seal. And then you know that when you get through with all of it and they've sealed, 24 hours later, you want to take the rings off, pick it up by your lid, be sure it's sealed good. Of course, the little button in the middle is supposed to denote whether it seals or not. But then you want to wash them in hot soapy water, and that way they're clean and ready for your shelf. And I always write on the top what's in there. Okay, I'm going to get these in the canner and start on the next rack, and then I'll bring y'all back. Okay, I've got the first ones in there, and anytime you're going to stack them, you have to put another rack on the top. If you don't have a rack, you can improvise with something, but you have to have something between the jars. So now I'm going to start filling my second row. Guys, I forgot to show you when I put the second stack of jars in there. But you see that steam coming out? That has to come out for 10 minutes. This whole thing will pop up, and then I'll let it steam for 10 minutes, and then I'll put the weight on. But there she goes. Okay, I have a steady stream coming out, so I'm going in the little pop-off valve, or whatever that thing's called, is popped up. And I've got my timer set for 10 minutes, and when it has vented for 10 minutes, then I'll put the weight on and let it build up to 10 pounds. And this is pints, so they need the pressure at 10 pounds for 25 minutes. Okay, I've got my weight on, and now I'm waiting for the pressure to build up to 10 pounds. I actually do 11, and I'll do that for 25 minutes for pints. I'm sorry, this is beef. This is going to be 75 minutes. 75 minutes for pints. Okay, I've gotten a few out. I'm going to get the rest of them out, and then I'll show you what they look like. Okay, here they are, all 16 of them, and they've all sealed. They're still bubbling, and I'm very proud of how they turned out. Thank you so much for coming along for my canning session. I'm tired. I told y'all a bunch of green beans last night, and all this beef today, and now I'm going to cook supper for April and her family. Tomorrow's her birthday. She'll be 45. So we're going to have hamburger steak and rice and gravy and green beans, and I don't know what else. And I'm not going to video it. Most of what I'm cooking, I've had videos before. I'm just tired, so I'm not going to do it this time. But I'll see y'all back in a day or two with another good video. In the meantime, watch the sale papers, get a little bit of extra stuff and put it in your pantry. You might have a hurricane, you might have an earthquake, you might have, I guess an earthquake would mess stuff up bad, wouldn't it? Might be some kind of natural disaster, or, you know, we're just in turbulent times. We don't ever know what's going to happen. You don't know when we're going to have a lockdown, and you can't go to the store. If you do go, the shelves are empty. I know I keep repeating myself, but y'all better listen. You might ought to listen and build you a good little pantry where you'll be comfortable no matter what happens. The Lord bless and keep y'all. Use today to the fullest. Make memories. Enjoy it. You're not promised tomorrow. Enjoy this gift, the present today. And I'll see y'all again soon.